The Welsh singer Bonnie Tyler, best known for her hit Total Eclipse of the Heart, has died aged 75. It's according to a statement on her website being shared by the family. It was posted to Facebook as well.
For decades, Bonnie Tyler has been one of music's most recognizable voices. But behind the sold-out concerts, chart-topping hits, and unforgettable performances is a marriage that has remained surprisingly private. While countless celebrity relationships have fallen apart under the spotlight, Bonnie and her husband have quietly built one of the entertainment industry's longest-lasting love stories. So what's their secret? And why have they chosen to stay out of the headlines when so many others embrace the attention? The answers reveal a side of Bonnie Tyler that most fans have never seen, and one surprising detail changes the way you might see their relationship forever. Long before Bonnie Tyler became one of the most recognizable voices in music history, she was simply Gaynor Hopkins, a young woman from a small Welsh town with enormous dreams and a voice unlike anyone else's. At the time, no one, not even Bonnie herself, could have predicted that her distinctive sound would one day become the soundtrack to millions of lives around the world. Her journey wasn't built on overnight success. Like countless aspiring singers, Bonnie performed in local clubs, entered talent competitions, and worked tirelessly to make her name known. The road was anything but glamorous. There were long nights, uncertain opportunities, and the constant challenge of standing out in an industry overflowing with talent. Ironically, the very characteristic that would later define her career almost never happened. Following surgery on her vocal cords in the 1970s, Bonnie was instructed to rest her voice completely. Instead, she spoke too soon during recovery, permanently changing the texture of her vocals. What could have ended a career instead became her greatest strength. That unmistakable raspy voice soon captured the attention of audiences across Britain and beyond. Songs like Lost in France introduced listeners to a fresh new talent. But it was only the beginning. Bonnie continued building momentum, proving she wasn't a one-hit wonder, but an artist capable of connecting emotionally with fans through every performance. Then came the songs that would define an era. Total Eclipse of the Heart became a global phenomenon, dominating charts across multiple countries and cementing Bonnie Tyler as an international superstar. Its dramatic emotion, cinematic production, and unforgettable vocals turned it into one of the biggest power ballads ever recorded. Years later, it remains a staple on radio stations, playlists, and television soundtracks worldwide. With worldwide fame came endless travel, sold-out arenas, television appearances, interviews, and the relentless demands of celebrity life. Many artists find themselves overwhelmed once success reaches that level. Relationships often struggle. Privacy disappears. Every decision becomes public discussion. Yet something about Bonnie Tyler's story was different. While magazines eagerly followed celebrity romances and scandals throughout the decades, Bonnie rarely found herself at the center of tabloid drama. Instead of dominating gossip columns, she let her music do the talking. Fans knew the performer on stage, but very few knew the woman who stepped off it. That wasn't an accident. Bonnie made a conscious effort to separate her public career from her private life. She understood that fame could be unpredictable, but family and genuine relationships required stability. It was a philosophy she maintained throughout decades in an industry where privacy is often the first sacrifice. As her career reached incredible heights, one person remained a steady presence behind the scenes, supporting her through international tours, career highs, personal challenges, and the changing landscape of the music business. Most fans knew his name, but very few knew the full story of how he became one of the most important people in Bonnie Tyler's life. And that raises an intriguing question. Who was the man who stood beside one of music's biggest stars for decades, while managing to stay almost entirely out of the spotlight? For many celebrities, fame changes everything, especially their relationships. As careers soar, personal lives often become casualties of constant travel, relentless media attention, and the pressure of living under a microscope. Hollywood is filled with love stories that burned brightly before quietly fading away. But Bonnie Tyler's story followed a very different path. Long before she became an international music icon, Bonnie met the man who would eventually become her husband, Robert Sullivan. Their relationship began before worldwide fame entered the picture, giving them something many celebrity couples never have: a foundation built without cameras, headlines, or public expectations. When Bonnie's career started taking off, neither of them could have imagined just how dramatically life was about to change. Suddenly, recording sessions turned into international tours. Television appearances became routine. Her music crossed borders, and millions of people who had never heard her name before were singing along to her biggest hits. For many couples, that kind of success creates distance. Months apart, constant travel, unexpected temptations, an endless schedule that leaves little room for ordinary family life. Yet Bonnie and Robert approached fame differently from the beginning. Instead of chasing publicity, they protected their privacy. While other celebrity couples regularly appeared together at glamorous events or shared intimate details in magazine interviews, Bonnie and Robert rarely invited cameras into their personal world. That decision may have seemed unusual, but over time it became one of the defining characteristics of their marriage. Friends and colleagues have often described Robert as someone who preferred staying behind the scenes. He wasn't interested in becoming a celebrity himself. Rather than competing for attention, he focused on supporting Bonnie while maintaining a sense of normalcy away from the stage. That balance proved invaluable. Bonnie has spoken in interviews about the importance of having a stable home life despite the chaos of the entertainment industry. Knowing there was always someone she could rely on gave her confidence during the inevitable ups and downs of a decades-long career. Of course, that doesn't mean everything was effortless. Every long-term relationship faces challenges, and theirs was no exception. Touring schedules meant long periods apart. The music industry evolved dramatically over the years, bringing new expectations and constant pressure to remain relevant. Through it all, Bonnie continued recording, performing, and adapting to changing audiences. Meanwhile, tabloids occasionally speculated about celebrity marriages, including hers. Yet unlike many public figures who felt compelled to answer every rumor, Bonnie rarely engaged with gossip. Instead, she consistently redirected attention back to her music and the work she loved. That quiet confidence became part of her public image. Rather than feeding controversy, she built a reputation for authenticity and resilience, qualities that earned respect from both fans and fellow musicians. As the years turned into decades, something remarkable happened. While many of Bonnie Tyler's contemporaries experienced multiple high-profile breakups, Bonnie and Robert's marriage endured. Their relationship became one of the entertainment industry's quieter success stories, not because it generated headlines, but because it largely avoided them. Still, their decision to remain private also created a mystery. Who was Robert Sullivan beyond the brief mentions in interviews? What role did he truly play during Bonnie's biggest career moments? And why, after so many years of staying in the background, did he occasionally choose to speak publicly about their life together? Those rare moments would reveal a side of their relationship that even many longtime fans had never fully understood. And that's where the story takes an unexpected turn. The higher a celebrity rises, the louder the rumors become. For Bonnie Tyler, international fame brought admiration from millions of fans. But it also came with the constant buzz of speculation that seems to follow nearly every public figure. Throughout the 1980s and beyond, entertainment magazines and tabloids were always searching for the next headline, and no successful artist was completely immune. Yet Bonnie handled that attention in a way that set her apart. Instead of responding to every story, she often chose silence. While some celebrities publicly challenged every rumor or used controversy to stay in the spotlight, Bonnie rarely gave gossip the attention it was seeking. Her focus remained firmly on her music, her performances, and the fans who had supported her throughout her career. That approach wasn't always easy. After the massive success of Total Eclipse of the Heart, Bonnie's schedule became relentless. Concerts, recording sessions, interviews, television appearances, and international travel filled her calendar. For many artists, that level of success creates enormous strain, not only professionally but personally as well. Naturally, people began asking the same questions they ask about nearly every famous couple. How do they make it work? Does the distance ever become too much? Can any marriage survive decades in the entertainment industry? Rather than offering dramatic answers, Bonnie consistently credited trust, communication, and mutual respect as the foundation of their relationship. She never pretended that marriage was effortless, but she also refused to portray it as a source of constant conflict, simply because that made for a better headline. Her husband, Robert Sullivan, shared that philosophy. Unlike the spouses of many celebrities, Robert rarely sought interviews or public attention. His absence from the spotlight only fueled curiosity, leading some fans to wonder what life behind closed doors was really like. But those who worked closely with Bonnie painted a different picture. Band members, producers, and longtime collaborators often described her as grounded despite her fame. They spoke about her professionalism, her humor, and her ability to separate the demands of performing from the life she valued away from the stage. That consistency became one of the defining features of her career. As music trends shifted and new generations of artists emerged, Bonnie continued to perform around the world, proving that genuine talent could outlast changing fashions. Her iconic voice remained instantly recognizable, and audiences continued filling venues decades after her biggest hits first climbed the charts. Behind that longevity was something fans rarely saw: the importance of having a dependable support system. While Bonnie stood under the lights, Robert preferred staying behind them. He wasn't building a public image. He was helping preserve a private life that allowed Bonnie to keep doing what she loved. Ironically, it was that very privacy that kept people wondering, why had the couple remained so guarded for so many years? And if Robert had deliberately stayed out of the spotlight, what would finally convince him to speak more openly about their remarkable journey together? The answer wouldn't come through a sensational scandal or shocking revelation, but through a rare glimpse into a partnership that had quietly endured where so many others had failed. After spending decades away from the spotlight, Robert Sullivan never became the kind of celebrity spouse who regularly gave interviews or sought public recognition. In fact, that was exactly how he preferred it. While Bonnie Tyler's career unfolded on some of the world's biggest stages, Robert remained focused on supporting her behind the scenes. So, whenever he did speak publicly, people paid attention. Unlike carefully orchestrated publicity campaigns, Robert's comments have generally been simple, sincere, and centered on Bonnie rather than himself. Instead of discussing fame or celebrity culture, he has spoken about the person audiences don't always get to see: the woman behind the legendary voice. That perspective offers something unique. Fans know Bonnie Tyler as the powerhouse performer who belts out emotional anthems in front of thousands of people. Robert knows the woman who comes home after the applause ends. He has seen the excitement of career milestones, the disappointment of setbacks, and the everyday moments that never make headlines. It's a reminder that even global stars live ordinary lives once the stage lights go out. Over the years, Bonnie herself has occasionally shared glimpses of what has helped their marriage last. She has emphasized the importance of mutual respect, giving each other space, and maintaining a sense of humor. Those qualities may not sound dramatic, but they stand in sharp contrast to the turbulence often associated with celebrity relationships. Robert's quiet support became especially meaningful during demanding periods of Bonnie's career. Touring for months at a time, adapting to changes in the music industry, and continuing to perform for new generations of fans required resilience. Having someone who understood those pressures without being consumed by them made a difference. Another factor was their shared commitment to privacy. In an age when many public figures document every aspect of their lives, Bonnie and Robert chose a different path. They rarely turned personal moments into public content, allowing their relationship to develop away from constant commentary and speculation. Ironically, that decision may have contributed to the enduring fascination surrounding them. The less they revealed, the more people wanted to know. Yet, whenever Robert has appeared alongside Bonnie or spoken about her, his admiration has been evident. Rather than focusing on awards, chart positions, or commercial success, he has highlighted her dedication, work ethic, and authenticity, qualities that fans have admired for decades. Those rare comments help explain why their partnership has remained so strong. It wasn't built on headlines or publicity. It was built on consistency. While Bonnie continued to captivate audiences with her unmistakable voice, Robert provided stability behind the scenes, creating a balance that many celebrity couples struggle to achieve. As the years passed, Bonnie's music found new audiences through streaming platforms, television, films, and social media. Younger listeners discovered songs that had become timeless classics, while longtime fans continued celebrating the artist they had followed for decades. With renewed interest in her career came renewed curiosity about her personal life. People wanted to know the story behind one of music's longest-lasting marriages. Was there a secret to their success? Or was the answer surprisingly simple? Two people who chose loyalty over publicity, privacy over headlines, and partnership over performance? That question leads to the final chapter, where Bonnie Tyler's enduring legacy and the remarkable relationship that supported it comes into full focus. In an industry where careers can disappear almost as quickly as they begin, Bonnie Tyler has achieved something remarkably rare: longevity. Decades after first capturing audiences with her unmistakable voice, she continues to perform, record music, and connect with fans across generations. While trends have come and gone, her songs have remained timeless. That kind of staying power doesn't happen by accident. It comes from resilience. It comes from adapting to change. And, perhaps most importantly, it comes from having a strong foundation away from the spotlight. Throughout Bonnie's career, that foundation has been her relationship with Robert Sullivan. Although he has never chased fame for himself, his steady presence has been a recurring theme whenever Bonnie has spoken about the people who matter most in her life. Rather than becoming another celebrity couple constantly in the headlines, they quietly built a partnership that endured through changing times, changing music, and changing public expectations. Looking back, it's almost surprising how little controversy has surrounded their marriage. In an era where personal lives are often turned into public entertainment, Bonnie and Robert proved that not every successful relationship needs to be lived in front of an audience. Their story isn't built on dramatic scandals. It's built on consistency, on trust, on choosing to protect what mattered most. That may not generate sensational headlines, but it has earned something far more valuable: respect. Bonnie's legacy extends well beyond record sales and chart positions. Songs like Total Eclipse of the Heart and Holding Out for a Hero have become cultural touchstones, finding new life in films, television shows, sporting events, and streaming playlists. Younger audiences continue to discover her music, while longtime fans remain loyal to the artist, whose powerful voice defined an era. And through every chapter of that remarkable journey, one constant has remained: a marriage that quietly stood the test of time. Perhaps that's the biggest lesson in Bonnie Tyler's story. Success doesn't always have to come at the expense of personal happiness. Fame doesn't automatically destroy relationships. Sometimes, the strongest partnerships are the ones that don't demand attention at all. For fans, that's a refreshing reminder. Behind every unforgettable performance is a real person with family, friends, and a life that exists beyond the applause. Bonnie Tyler's career has inspired millions through music, but her enduring relationship with Robert offers a different kind of inspiration, one built not on spectacle, but on commitment. As audiences continue celebrating her extraordinary career, it's worth remembering that some of the most meaningful stories aren't the loudest ones. They're the stories that unfold quietly, year after year, away from cameras and gossip columns. And perhaps that's why Bonnie Tyler's journey continues to resonate. Not because it's filled with endless controversy, but because it's a rare example of lasting success in both music and marriage. So the next time you hear Bonnie Tyler's iconic voice soaring through the speakers, remember there's another story behind the songs, one of loyalty, resilience, and a partnership that has weathered decades of fame without losing sight of what truly mattered. Sometimes, the greatest legacy isn't just the music you leave behind. It's the life you build while making it.